Good morning. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Meditate with Adam, session 176. We're training in the joyful mind of renunciation, which is part of the mind of compassion. Compassion is the motivating force behind our meditations. Correct compassion, transforms our meditations and gets us on a spiritual path where we can become enlightened for the benefit of all living beings. We're not going to be able to do that unless inside our compassion is renunciation. Many different types of compassion. But the compassion that we are exploring in this context recognizes where suffering comes from. Yesterday on the retreat, Maranasati 9 retreat, Maranasati means death meditation, we were exploring renunciation and asking ourselves, why? Asking the question, why do I experience suffering? Why do I experience problems? Ignorance or confusion points the finger out. It's because of this person. It's because of my boss. It's because of my family. It's because of my partner. It's because of the government. It's because of this. That's confusion. And it just causes endless frustration and misery. This way of thinking. Yeah, because our problems and difficulties don't come from outside our mind. Deep down, we know this. But we just have a habit, lazy habit of blaming the world around us, looking outside as a place where our problems come from, and believing that manipulating the world outside of us will solve our problems. But we know that we just create more problems for ourselves, more difficulties. For as long as we are walking around, or driving around, or cycling around, or running around, or wherever we're going around, flying around, with delusions in our mind, we'll experience problems. Yeah. This is important point. Yeah, very, very important point. Our problems and difficulties come from our mind, come from the delusions in our mind. There's many delusions. What is a delusion? It's a way of thinking that makes us unpeaceful and uncontrolled and distorts our reality. We see a reality that is distorted due to the delusion, like going in the hall of mirrors. Renunciation is a wish, a joyful mind that understands where our suffering is coming from. And it's a joyful mind wishing to be free from it, wishing to be free from delusion. Who doesn't want to be free from suffering? If you had a choice this week to experience suffering or to reduce the amount of suffering that you experience and move closer towards freedom and liberation, which one would you choose? And this choice is continuously being presented to us. But out of habit, we always tend to make the choice to experience more problems and difficulties because we're looking outside all the time, manipulating and organizing our life so we can improve it. The way to improve our life is by improving our mind and by cultivating renunciation. Renunciation is a mind that wishes to be free from suffering. That's all. It's not abandoning external things. It's a mind that wishes to be free from suffering and attain liberation. The suffering of delusion, three main delusions. If you study the wheel of life, which is a pictorial representation of the confused state that we're in. Just Google it after the session. In the center of the wheel of life is three delusions, representations of three delusions, three ignorance, anger, and attachment. These three confused states of mind are the reason why we experience problems and difficulties, are the reasons why we have an uncontrolled life. And when we die, we'll take an uncontrolled rebirth and we'll continue the cycle. Renunciation is a wish to be free from these delusions, a joyful mind, bound for liberation. It's a mind that has simply had enough. I mean, how much more do you want to take? How much more grief? How much more mental and physical pain do you want? A bit more, just to make sure. Wherever we go in this world, in this impure world, we will experience problems and difficulties. You just look out your window. There it is. Go to the supermarket. Yeah. We're living in an impure world. People are walking around with masks on. Yeah. We're impure. Yeah. And we see it every year. Getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. Environmental issues increasing. Pollution increasing. Physical disease increasing. Mental sickness increasing. Depression increasing. Without wisdom, thinking about these things just makes us miserable. But with wisdom, you think, yeah, this is reality. Instead of pretending, this is reality, and I want to be free from it. How? By abandoning and reducing my delusions, cultivating a pure mind, living in a pure world, free from negativity and delusions. Therefore, I'm going to attain liberation. I've had enough. I'm out of here. How do we get out? By turning in. We don't need to go anywhere. If only it was as easy as getting on a plane, or getting on a boat, or selling up. But wherever we go, we take our mind with us. And if we've got delusions in our mind, we'll take our delusions with us. The way to become free is by, first of all, developing the wish to be free. If you want to go to Hawaii, first of all, you have to have a wish to go there. Oh. Wouldn't it be great to go to Hawaii? Without that wish, we won't go to Hawaii. In the same way, if you want to be free, to attain liberation and nirvana, first of all, before you attain liberation and nirvana, you have to have a wish to be free, to attain liberation and nirvana. So that's what we're doing in these sessions, developing the wish to be free, to attain liberation and nirvana. You may not fully understand yet, but when you go to Hawaii, you don't fully understand everything about the plane, do you? But you believe that the plane will get you there. You don't need to fully understand everything to get started. It's the same if we want to attain liberation and nirvana. You don't have to get it all straight away. It's just starting. Wouldn't it be wonderful? A happy mind to be free from all this suffering. How wonderful that would be. There's joyful mind. And what it does, it helps us to let go. Renunciation is the opposite of attachment. Attachment says happiness can be found outside. I need this. I need that. I need one of those. I need a better one of these. I need more of this. I need to invest this here and do this there. This is attachment. Renunciation is cut, 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 cut. Mentally. It's So we realize I don't need this stuff to be happy. I just need to have a peaceful mind. And then we can be free. Before we are permanently free, on the path to liberation, we will feel more and more peaceful, more and more content with what we have. This is the side effects of developing renunciation. The side effects of attachment and following attachment is confusion, mental and physical pain every single day. The side effects of developing renunciation: peaceful, calm, happy. That's it. So we cultivate this wish. Why am I talking about this theme now? Because once we develop renunciation for our own suffering and difficulties, we can then turn that around and cultivate compassion for all living beings. And we realize everyone else is in the same boat. But if we're not truthful and honest about our own predicament and situation, we can't really develop compassion for others. We won't know how to help them. But if we start helping ourselves with this mind, we are in a position to help others. So this is training indirectly in compassion, but we're getting the detail correct first. So once again, we start with natural breathing meditation. If your mind is distracted, try doing the counting, which we trained in last week, to get focused. Then developing the wish to attain liberation or nirvana. And as we cultivate that wish, it's happy mind. And we feel our attentions going inwards. Yeah. And a quietening of our mind. And then, as a consequence of cultivating renunciation, this week, when we go out into our day, we know we're going to experience problems, don't we? We know we'll encounter people that we find difficult. We know we maybe get news that we don't like to hear about. And instead of getting miserable and upset about it, we think, this person, this news, this situation is teaching me to attain liberation. So everything that is coming in our life is guiding us to attain liberation. So we don't get upset about things anymore. Think things go wrong, people let us down. This is what happens in an impure life. What did you expect? Things to go right? Oh, so it's a very stable, common sense type mind. Yeah. Let's give it a go. See how we get on. Listening out for the bells. Bringing our attention into the present moment. Making the motivation. I'm going to stay focused during these 15 minutes. Set myself up for the week ahead. Whatever I need to do later can wait. It's my time. Get some sanity, some clarity, some wisdom. Begin with breathing, the natural breathing. If your mind is distracted, you can count it, either both inhalation or exhalation, or just the exhalation. Or if you're relatively focused, just stay with the breathing just for a couple of minutes. feeling your attention turning inwards. Renewing your intention to stay focused as you settle in to the meditation. We now develop the wish to attain liberation or nirvana, appreciating how problems and difficulties arise from our deluded minds. The way to solve our problems is to attain liberation. This is an inner path, letting go of our attachments, moving to the firm ground of liberation, understanding there's no real happiness in this world, long lasting, stable happiness. We turn our mind inwards and cultivate the wish in our heart to be free from uncontrolled mind, uncontrolled life. I must attain liberation. And when this mind arises, clearly try to hold it. This is the mind of renunciation. In the last couple of minutes, renew your intention, joyful mind, wishing to attain complete freedom from suffering, to reduce and eradicate the delusions in our mind, step by step. And thereby each day move into a more peaceful, calmer, freer existence, no longer controlled by delusion, but governed by wisdom. May I attain liberation. Try to hold this mind single pointedly. All the problems and difficulties we've had in our life, the dissatisfaction, unhappiness, uncertainty, being separated from the things we like, not finding what we want, not being able to find satisfaction. This is guiding us to move in a different direction, to turn our attention inwards, to follow a spiritual path, and to attain liberation from the delusions in our mind. I must attain liberation. I must attain nirvana. We hold this joyful mind for the last minute of our meditation. And as our session draws to a close, we dedicate the good energy from our practice so we can progress with our training this week. And everyone we come into contact with, physically, verbally, mentally, can benefit from this group meditation. May there be healing in the world, and may we all move closer to mental freedom. So at this moment in time, in the world we share, there's a lot of work, isn't there, to try and find a lot of doctors and laboratories around the world trying to create a vaccine to help protect us from COVID-19. A lot of people hoping and waiting to get this vaccine. But you imagine someone offered you a vaccine that would protect you from dissatisfaction, unhappiness, discontent. The COVID-19 vaccine, if whenever comes about, may protect us from COVID. But we know, don't we? There are other diseases it won't protect us from. And it's certainly not going to protect us from dissatisfaction and discontent, because these are states of mind. And no physical vaccine can do that. They only protect us from physical illnesses. We need a mental vaccine. Yeah. And that is what renunciation is. At the moment, we have no real protection from dissatisfaction, uncertainty, discontent. Hooray. If we're honest, the mind of renunciation, it starts to protect us from that. You want to have a good week ahead, a good month, a good year, a good life, peaceful, contented. This is the mind you need. Just one mind, renunciation. Try not to jump to any quick conclusions about renunciation. There's a lot of misunderstanding. It means abandoning everybody and going to live in a tree. If only it were that simple to solve all our problems. But we might find ourselves living in a tree, still with an uncontrolled mind, being dissatisfied with the tree. We take our uncontrolled mind with us. Renunciation is a wish to have mental freedom, to be free from negativity, to be free from the problems in our life. So when we encounter challenges and difficulties, instead of responding to them with negativity, we can respond to them with wisdom. Where do problems come from? When we encounter a challenge or a difficulty, is that a problem? It all depends on how we look at it, doesn't it? If we have a negative mind, a deluded mind, if we're walking around with deluded minds, wherever we go, we'll encounter problems and difficulties. If we start to reduce and remove our deluded minds, our problems, abracadabra, Kate, just disappear. Yeah. Because the root of them has been taken away. Explore this mind during the week. When you encounter something that you don't want to encounter, when you're separated from something that you like, when you start feeling dissatisfied, you open the newspaper or you're scrolling through the news and you're just seeing all this news which you're disappointed by. Think, this is teaching me to attain liberation. No longer am I going to become upset and unhappy by what I'm experiencing. I'm going to use it as fuel for my spiritual path. So in that way, we transform our experiences into the spiritual path. Everything that's coming in our life is guiding us. It's like a teacher. I think this is teaching me. I need to let go. What more of a message do I need than right now? Being in this world, you can see I'm living in an impure world. This is now the time to follow a spiritual path. There's no better time. Yeah. Have a great week ahead. And I might see you this evening for the second installment of session 176 for more joyful nirvana. Good morning and see you later.